Hello, my name is Jeremy Giles, and you're listening to episode 87 of the Who's on Top podcast.
Welcome back to episode 87 of the Who's on Top podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Fox. We got a jam-packed Super Bowl preview episode. The whole gang is here, and we got even more than the usual gang here, but we'll get into that. First, our regulars. We'll start off with our sports gambling insider. He doesn't care about the facts. He just cares about his winnings. BDK, Jacob Kasdan.
What's up, guys? Let's talk some sports. Let's have a great episode.
And next, we got our very own astronaut in the ocean, the bowling ball whisperer himself, Jeremy Giles. Jeremy, how are we doing?
I'm good. As always, at your service.
And we are very lucky today to be joined. We are doing a combined podcast.
Joint episode, yeah. Combined
episode. We've got the men from the Commencement Podcast. First, Alex Grossman. How you doing, Alex?
What's up? I'm honored to be back on the podcast.
Yeah, second time in a row.
This is a joint one, so I mean, you should be just as honored to be on our podcast.
Oh no, definitely. I was going to get into that later. And our second guest, the co-host of the Commencement Podcast, Zach Roth.
How you doing? Let's talk some sports, like Kasdan said.
Yes, sir. Let's get it.
Oh my God, there's three of them. Transition into the Super Bowl, the biggest sporting event in the world. Well, the biggest sporting event in the U.S. at least. And we've got a very interesting matchup between the Bengals and the Rams. But you guys know that by now. The Bengals, they're the Cinderella story. Joe Burrow and these boys, they have gone on the road to number one ranked Tennessee and number two ranked Kansas City and beat them both on last-second field goals. They're exciting. They're young. And on the other side, you have the wily veterans, the Los Angeles Rams. They made the big move last offseason, trading Jared Goff for Matthew Stafford, and it has paid off. And they have continued to add this regular season with Odell Beckham Jr. and Von Miller, and it's all coming together. They beat the Cardinals handily in the wild card round and had pulled out close victories against my Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the San Francisco 49ers in the playoffs. So all signs point to a very interesting, exciting Super Bowl, and we are going to go through it all right now, and we will start with the key matchups. What should fans be looking for in this game? What is the number one matchup you're looking for as you evaluate the game? Jeremy, we'll start with you.
For me, I feel like the biggest matchup, or at least one I'm most excited to see, is Jamar Chase versus Jalen Ramsey. Just because of how electric Jamar Chase has been this year. As we know, he's had insane stats, basically been the best rookie receiver ever. And Jalen Ramsey may be the best corner in the league. And I just feel like this will be an incredibly exciting match. And I know we've seen Jalen Ramsey get beat around a little bit more than we're used to seeing him this year. And so I don't know. I feel like I would personally love to see Jalen Ramsey get smoked by Jamar Chase. So I'm very much rooting for that.
Yeah, I'll go next. I think for me, in my opinion, if the Bengals want to win this game, there are two people in specific they have to stop, and that's Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham. And opposing them is going to be Chidobe Awuzie and Eli Apple. We know Awuzie is good, and we know Eli Apple sucks. So I think if the Bengals want any shot at winning this game, they're really going to have to limit Kupp and Odell and force the less talented Van Jefferson and maybe a Higbee or some Rams pass-catching running backs to propel this Rams offense. Because I think if Cooper Kupp and OBJ get going against this Bengals weak secondary early, it's game over from the start, in my opinion. So that's my key matchup for this Super Bowl.
Don't sleep on Van Jefferson, though. He's not nearly as good as.
I'm not sleeping on him, Jeremy. I said
he's
less talented.
He's still decent. Like
I know. I said he's less talented.
Fair.
All right, Zach, Agro.
All right, I'll go. My key matchup this week is going to be a D-line O-line matchup between the Rams and the Bengals. In my opinion, I mean, really not my opinion. It's pretty much a fact at this point. The Rams D-line is outstanding, and the Bengals O-line not so much. We've seen Joe Burrow get pummeled this season. He's done a great job with it. They need to make some crazy offseason moves O-line wise. But Aaron Donald, in my opinion, is going to tear through that O-line.
He could definitely have a field day.
We're going to get to that later on my bets. But I'm a big Aaron Donald believer this week. He's going to tear him up.
Yeah, so for mine, this might be a little unconventional because it's not really a matchup. They're not going to be on the field at the same time. But I think with Tyler Boyd and Van Jefferson, there's only room for one of them to be the X factor. I think like so much attention is going to be paid on the four best wide receivers in this game. But I think
Who's number 5?
I think one of those guys can just find opportunities throughout and can end up with 80 yards and a touchdown, and that's the difference. So that's what I would say.
And just one more quick thing for this game. Sean McVay, the Rams head coach, did say today that Darrell Henderson is officially active and healthy. So they're not going to have just Akers and Michelle, but they'll also have a healthy Darrell Henderson, which and we all know he was a force early in the year, racking up lots of yards, lots of touchdowns in short yardage situations. So I think the Bengals, again, Zach already said it on the O-line side, but I think the Bengals D-line, they're really going to have to control line of scrimmage and force the Rams to pass, I guess, but you don't want to do that.
You don't do anything.
There's no good situation for forcing the Rams to do. But
yeah, that was sort of my.
Go ahead.
I feel like you got to force the Rams to run because their pass has been one of the best attacks of the year of the season.
Well, let me say this because this will go into my key matchup. I think that if you look at the last 3 games, Matthew Stafford, while he has played great and I can't take that away from him, he has been virtually untouched, especially in that Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. 49ers got a little bit on him, but Matthew Stafford will make mistakes. We have seen that. Even in this great Rams run, he
probably won't throw an interception.
Yeah, he threw a goal line interception in the first quarter of last game. He threw almost what would have been maybe a game-ender interception on the deep ball last game. He's still the same gunslinger. As I said last week, he is still the same gunslinger that he was in Detroit. So can the Bengals, and they got a banged up defensive front, but can they generate pressure? And if the Rams are able to run the ball, and this will actually be my X factor, that will slow that pass rush down. The Rams are one of the best teams on play action. But if the Bengals can control the line of scrimmage, that will allow them to get in the run game. That will allow them to be able to generate pressure and get those pass rushers to affect Stafford's game a little bit. But let's move on to X factors. And I'll start this one off. I think my X factor for the game is Cam Akers. And that sort of goes into what I was just saying, that, Cam Akers, it's a great story, as we all know. Came back, wild card round. He looked strong, healthy in the wild card game, fumbled 2 times in the divisional game, and had an up and down performance last week. And the Rams, I'm not going to tell you the score, but I predict that the Rams are going to jump out to an early lead. And the question then becomes, okay, you have a 7-10 point lead in this fourth quarter. Can you run the ball, shoot some of that clock? Because we know the Bengals have a fast break offense. They could score in a minute. So if the Rams are able to control the pace of the game in the second half with Cam Akers, then you start to feel really good about their chances. And we'll send it to the guy they apparently call Agro, Alex Grossman, for his X Factor.
Thank you for the great introduction. I'm going to say Cooper Kupp, and I really just think, if he doesn't have a good game, which I think he will, but if he doesn't, I don't think the Rams are going to win. And I think, with a guy like Odell, he could have a bad game and the Rams could still win. So it's you need Kupp to have his 100 yards and, pull the defense towards him. And I think that will really decide the game, because I think anyone else on the Rams except Stafford can have not so great game, but they could still pull out the win. But I just see it as Stafford and Cup they gotta keep connecting. So
Yeah, I'll go next. For me, my X factor is T. Higgins. And we all know that Jamar Chase is going to be guarded by Jalen Ramsey, shadowed for most of the game. And obviously we know Ramsey's a shutdown corner, always has been, always will be, as long as he's in the league and healthy. So I think, again, for this Bengals offense to have success and to stay in the game, I think someone needs to step up. And I think that someone's T. Higgins, one of the best 50-50 guys in the league, 6'4", huge frame. And we've seen him have big games in the past. We've seen him be non-existent in games when they've lost by a couple points. And I just think if Higgins can have a big game, it definitely keeps the Bengals in a much better shot to be competitive and potentially win this game against the Rams.
All right. For my X factor, I said it earlier. I'll say it again. Aaron Donald is gonna have a field day. He had an okay season for him, but we know how explosive he can be. And with a subpar at best offensive line, I think he is going to just tear right through them. I think Joe Burrow needs to kind of fear for his life. He's got to evade. I'm scared for him. He had a pretty bad injury, and I don't want it to happen again because I love him. I'm on that train, the whole Joe Shiesty train. Yeah, I'm riding it. I'm riding it hard, but it's unfortunate for him because Aaron Donald is going to strike.
Yeah, I think for me, my X factor, assuming they both play, would actually might be the tight ends, C.J. Uzomah and T.J. Higbee, Tyler Higbee. Just because I think they're both really, really good players, both very much underrated players. I know we've seen so often with Gronk and Kelsey in Super Bowls that this is a time where tight ends can take over. They almost always have a mismatch because they have a linebacker on them, especially in this case where they're both very good pass-catching tight ends. So I don't know if either of them will crush the numbers game with all the other talent out there, but I really would not be shocked if either of them get the pivotal catch or like a target in a pivotal moment. And I know they both sustained injuries last week, but I know that Uzomah has basically said there's no way in hell I'm missing this game. And I know Higbee's really helping to play too. So I really think if either of them play, they could honestly be the difference.
All right, sounds good. So let's move on to bold predictions, and I'll start things off because I'm the guy with the mic. I'm the guy who writes the script, and I'm the guy in charge. No, just kidding. I'm just talking right now. We'll start with here's my bold prediction, and I think that Joe Burrow is going to throw 3 picks. And I'm not saying this in a way to slander Joe Burrow. I don't even say that necessarily he's going to have an awful all-time bad game. I just think, first off, that the Bengals are not going to be able to run the ball. I think that the Rams, their defensive front is just going to overpower. We talk a lot about Joe Burrow in pass protection and how the Bengals offensive line can't protect him, but they're also not doing a lot on the run game. Mixon has really not broken out over these last 3 games. With the lack of confidence I feel in the Bengals offensive line open up running holes, I think Burrow's going to be throwing the ball 50 to 55 times. And we forget that he's still a young guy. You know, he has so much poise, but he will throw interceptions. Remember against the Bears, he threw 3 straight interceptions on 3 straight drives. So he will turn the ball over, and this is a big stage. He's asked to do so much. So I could easily see, I think he's going to throw 2 touchdowns around there, 2-3 touchdowns, but also 3 interceptions.
Interesting take there. Definitely a bold prediction for you, Mr. Fox. My bold prediction, I think Odell has more yards and touchdowns than Cooper Kupp. I think Odell goes for over 100 yards and a touchdown. I think Cooper Kupp's going to get all the attention, definitely getting double teamed by Wouzier and Von Bell or Jesse Bates. So I think Odell, he's going to shine. He's going to show his talents. And I'm just really, really excited for Odell to show up in the Super Bowl and to just be in the Super Bowl because I've always loved him. I always knew he was talented, and he just needed the right pieces around him for him to fit in. But Ager, what's your bold prediction?
I don't know if this is bold or not, but I think it'll be a fairly defensive game. I think like the offenses will kind of need a whole half to get warmed up and sort of into their game. And I think the first half we may only see like one touchdown. I wouldn't be that surprised. So that's what I'll say.
I think for me, I'm gonna be honest. Do I think the Rams could win this game? Yes, but the Bengals have proven all the haters wrong time and time again. I don't know how the fuck they got here, but they're here now, and I'm going all in on Joe Burrow. I think they win the exact same way they've won the last ones. A last-second field goal. I think they ended out 31-28. I definitely think Joe Burrow. The thing is, I kind of think the Bengals will win, or I think this game will get out of hand. To be honest, the Bengals aren't going to win by a lot. That's the one thing I'll say. If they win, it's going to be a last-second win, and I think I have faith in them. I'm picking Bengals.
Money Mac going for the third consecutive game-winning field goal? Question mark?
Can you say just how impressed I am? Like a rookie kicker. Like it's one thing if you think about great kickers in the past, Vinatieri.
Fox. That could be me out there in a couple years.
Oh, it definitely could. The problem I have with you, as we chew time until Ellis can get his ass off the bus, is that I don't think you're making the effort to go out there and show Syracuse what you can do. I've seen it.
I was not given the opportunities.
Everybody in Maplewood have seen you kick the 40 yards, and it's not just what you do when everybody's watching. It's the things you do when nobody's watching. Waking up at 4 a.m. to do your stretching and your kicking drills, watching film over and over, and playing Madden nonstop so you can understand the playbook, So I think you need to go out there and say, look, here's a rookie kicker who's doing the damn thing. What about me? I'm BDK. Jacob, your thoughts?
My thoughts on what?
On what I just said.
Yeah, I think it's great. Obviously, I don't think I will ever play in the NFL. But there's a slim chance. There's always a chance, and that's the attitude I'm going with. There's always a slim chance. But yeah, honestly, just props to Evan McPherson for just being consistent this year, and honestly, props to the Bengals for drafting a kicker and it actually working out which is a very rare occasion, honestly.
And that was our brand new segment, Kicking It with Kasdan. Let's move on to prop bet. I just came up with
really
that.
Good.
I love it.
That's good, Foxy.
But now let's move on. Speaking of Jacob Kasdan, we're going to be talking some sports gambling. But before we start, remember, you got to gamble responsibly. Gamble only what you have or what your grandparents gave you.
I hate you.
I'm just telling the facts. Someone's got to be saying facts on this podcast. So I will kick it over to the commencement guys, Zach and our Agro. Take it away.
All right. I said it earlier. I said it again. I'm going to say it now. Aaron Donald over half a sack. Easy bet for me. I'm going to throw it in a couple props. Just, it's just a money multiplier in my opinion. Gonna happen. Give me all of the OBJ lines. You name the OBJ line, I'm going for it. I'm going touchdown. I'm going over 62.5 receiving. I don't know what the receptions line is, but I'm going to hit that as well. Also, of an unconventional one.
If you really want to make some money, you say.
Give me an O-lineman touchdown at plus 1,900. If you throw like $5 on it, you're if it happens, you win money. So, it's just $5. Oh yeah, by the way, it's over 5.5 receptions for OBJ. I'm hitting that every time. Give me the over. And Alex, your takes?
Yeah, I think a lot of those are really interesting. I definitely agree on the OBJ. I feel like he's consistently been doing that since he's been on the Rams. And I also think Tyler Boyd, sort of as I said before, over 39.5 receiving yards. I think it could take him 2 or 3 catches to get over that. Since they won't be paying too close attention to him. And then I think Joe Mixon will have over 24.5 receiving yards because I feel like there's going to be a lot of plays where the Rams D-line gets to Burrow fast and he has to just dump it off and just see what Mixon can do.
Mixon in the check down.
So, yeah, I'm really confident in that one as well.
Yeah, got a couple bets for you guys. First 2 bets I'm not betting on the Super Bowl. I'm going to enjoy the game.
He says now.
It's early.
I took a free bet, a free $10 bet, but that's all I'm doing. First off, I've got Burrow and Stafford both over on the yards. Burrow at 281.5, Stafford at 276.5. As Zach and Akers said, I'm taking the Odell over 62.5 yards. And as I said earlier, the X factor, T. Higgins, over 69.5 receiving yards. That's a lock for me if the Bengals want to win this game. I think that'll happen. Burrow over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I think that's also a very good bet. Samaje Perine, 2.5 rush yards. You know, it's if he gets a carry, he'll hit most likely. So I like the odds there. And then the moneymaker for if you're going to bet on this is an anytime touchdown scorer parlay. Get Kupp in there, throw Akers in there, throw Mix in, maybe throw in I don't know, T. Higgins or any other one, Chase maybe. Make some bread on that. But I really like Kupp, Akers, and Mixon all scoring a touchdown for this game.
Jacob, I see it in your face that this is not going to be a no gambling weekend for you.
No, it will be. It will be a no
your
gambling
eyes
weekend.
lit up.
We'll
Your eyes lit up, man.
You know what? You know why it's not going to be a no gambling weekend? Because
Why?
there's still basketball this weekend.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Okay. Well, let me just throw my hat into the ring. Some bets I like. A lot of Jacob bets I'm liking. Well, he does know best. He is our sports gambling insider. I love T. Higgins over 69.5 yards too. He had 100 yards last game. As I said, Burrow's going to be throwing the ball a lot. Ramsey on Chase. There's going to be other options, so I really like that. Perine over 2.5 rushing yards. I mean, we've seen him. He doesn't get the attention with Joe Mixon, but he got a 40-yard touchdown last week. Mixon's not going to be on the field the whole game, so I like him to at least get 5. And I'm going to actually say no on the OBJ touchdown. Sorry, Zach, but I just don't like that OBJ is the third Rams target in the red zone. We've seen when Matthew Stafford is in the red zone, who is he looking for? He's looking for Cooper Kupp, but also one of those tight ends on those little little block and releases. We saw that against the Buccaneers. Who's their backup tight end?
Gerald Everett.
No, it wasn't him. Well, anyway, we see him. Matthew Stafford is looking for those tight ends in the red zone. He's not really looking for Odell. He's looking for Odell in between the 20s, but no touchdowns over the last 2 games. I do not like Odell to get a touchdown in the Super Bowl. Jeremy, anything you're looking at?
I think for me, I don't know. I feel like I really like the Odell and Higgins ones. Again, I feel like in Super Bowls, especially with 2 teams that have one good corner and the rest of the corners that are not nearly as good, picking a second receiver is very good. I'd also like to see if there's any marks for Boyd. I think Boyd could very much have a big game. I think for me, I'd maybe stay away from the Kupps, Akers, Mixon anytime TD score. Not that I don't think there's a good chance all of them score TD. I just think there's a very good chance that 2 of them score it or something like that.
See, Jeremy, with betting, that's the risk you have to take. You got to take the risk sometimes.
Well,
Jeremy doesn't like risk, though. He likes saying things, this could happen, this could happen. He likes putting his balls in every ring.
Hey, if the one time I bet, I won $40. That's all I'm saying. I know.
Loves putting his balls all over.
My only point isn't that there's no risk. And I just feel like I'd rather take all my risk with one player than spread it out among 3. So I feel like I'd much rather the Odell and Higgins bets. If I was going to bet, I think those would be the 2 I would take.
Ellis, I'm sure we're all interested to hear your thoughts on this upcoming game, the Super Bowl, X factors, bold predictions, key matchups. Give it to us.
Right. So let me pull up my document real quick. Where is it? Oh, yeah. All right. So I have gone over this time and time again in my head. And, at first I was talking to Fox a little bit about this off air last week. And I was like, the Bengals just have that it factor. I feel like they're going to win. Right. And I'm going back and forth. I'm looking at all the numbers and there's no reason why the Bengals should win, but they have the it factor. That said, it factor only takes you so far. And I was looking at the stats and I'll preface this with another stat. The Bengals are 4-2 against teams with let me start my key matchup before I get into statistics then. My key matchup has to be Jamar Chase versus Jalen Ramsey. And here's why. We know the Bengals are going to have to get the ball out quick. Jalen Ramsey is a top 5 cornerback in the league. Jamar Chase is a top 10 receiver playing like it in the league, right? So this is the key matchup. Can Jamar Chase get open and open quickly? He struggled against the Chiefs first half, and then he turned it on. And that was part of the reason why they came back. What can he do against Jalen Ramsey, who, of course, is the specialist at the cornerback position? Now, what's next? Sorry, Fox. Key matchup. Bold prediction.
X Factor.
X Factor. X Factor. I think I'm going to go Joe Mixon. The Rams have the number one pass rush. Of course, you could say the offensive line too, but I'm assuming they're going to be bad. But if they show up, good for them. But the Rams have the best best run win rate, or stop win rate is what it's called, but best run win rate on defense in the league. And the Bengals, even though they're an awful passing blocking team, they're actually only the 18th worst run blocking team. So they're bad. There's no doubt that, but they're not horrible like their pass block is. But Joe Mixon has been playing great and runs really hard. Can he give Joe Burrow some time? Because if the running game starts being implemented, Joe Burrow's going to get like the extra half second or second, and that's going to be great because he's going to need all he can against this pass rush. I'm sure we're going to talk about that later. So yeah, that is my X factor and bold prediction. Bold prediction is, and I'll save my outcome for the game for the later. But my bold prediction is there are 3 interceptions thrown in this game. 1 by Joe Burrow, 2 by Matthew Stafford. That's my bold prediction.
Do you know what my bold prediction was? That's just funny. My bold prediction was also that there's going to be 3 interceptions, but Joe Burrow throws 3 interceptions.
Interesting. All right.
That's
well,
funny.
I had 2 for Stafford.
Wavelength.
1 for Burrow. Good wavelength. All summed up.
All right. Super Bowl. All right. Which Tom Brady was in 10 of them. 10. Opposed to Joe Montana's 4.
Yeah, but he hasn't got to lose again, so.
All right. Ellen. Who you got in Super Bowl 56?
All right. So I don't know. I can only remember the last 2 Super Bowls and me thinking who's going to win. And I think this is, out of the last 3, the hardest pick I've had to make. Even though it was wrong last Super Bowl, I still felt better.
Yeah, you fucking were.
Oh, my God.
Dumbass.
I still felt better about it than I do right now. So, because I just feel like the Bengals I really just feel like they have the it factor. But when you look at the stats, and maybe that's where I go wrong, but when you look at the stats, and me and Foxy had this conversation, I'm going over Foxy said, how can you say the Bengals are going to win? When you look at the stats, just the stats, the Bengals are the 3rd worst team in blocking the pass rush. Who's the best team at rushing at pass rush? The Rams, and it's not even close. Now, actually, you'd be surprised. Their pass defense on like passes deflecting, that kind of stuff. The Rams are 17, actually, which is kind of low. And I think it's because they give up some big plays. And the Bengals are 20. So not that bad. But the pass rush versus the 3rd worst pass defense, is crazy. Now, the Bengals, shockingly, are 4-2 against teams with top 10 pass rushes. So you can say, well, they seem to be really good against teams that exploit their weakness. But they haven't played the best team. Their 4 wins, they are 0-2 against teams with top 5 pass rushes. They're 4-2 because they beat the Chiefs twice and the Raiders twice, who have 8 and 9 in pass rush, respectively. But they lose to the 49ers, who are number 4. And then I forgot their 5th, the Bears, I think. The Bears. But so that is why the Rams have it on the pass rush. The run. Now let's talk about the run. The Rams are the best team at stopping the run. The Bengals O-line's a little better at blocking the run, number 18, but that's not top half, that's bottom half. So, I mean, I said my X factor is Joe Mixon. I'm telling you right now, I think he's going to get kind of stuffed and not really his fault. Maybe he's I don't think it's going to be his fault. I just don't think there's no room to run for him. I just can't see it. And Joe Burrow, yes, you can beat the Titans getting sacked 9 times. Can you beat the Rams getting sacked 6 or 7 times? Maybe, but I think he's going to get sacked 6 times. So I don't think you can beat the Rams getting sacked 6 times. Pressure is a massive factor, and it took so much to go right for them to beat the Titans when he was getting sacked 9 times. Now, when my Bengals brain is, and this is my thought process, is this team has been sometimes just their switch goes off and they let up big plays, they throw interceptions. That said, for as much as everyone's saying Joe Burrow, this is a Matthew Stafford legacy game. If he wants any chance to the Hall of Fame, he needs to beat Joe Burrow. I'm not saying he's going to get the Hall of Fame because if he beats him, but if he wants any shot, he needs to beat Joe Burrow. If Sean McVay loses this, you slowly start to question Sean McVay. OBJ. Might be one of his last chances to get to the Super Bowl. And Rams traded away their entire future for the next 2, maybe 3 years, but 2 max. The time is now for the Rams. I still don't think I think Sean McVay can outcoach Zach Taylor, even though I've gained a little more respect for Zach Taylor. And I think the Rams just win it. I'll tell you how it's going to go. 27-21. Bengals get the ball, 1 minute left in the second half. And Joe Burrow, as clutch as he is, gets sacked twice and is forced to throw a prayer at 4th and 30-ish, let's say. And the game ends. That is what I'm calling for the score.
I can tell you've been watching way too much college basketball because you said 1 minute left in the second half, not 1 minute left in the
fourth quarter, but you know what I meant.
Yeah, I know. We all know you meant. And technically wasn't wrong. All right. That was Ellis. Thank you for the in-depth analysis. Let's move on to Zach with his prediction.
All right. So I heard it on The Simpsons that the Bengals would beat the Rams in the Super Bowl 34-31. But I'm not going to stick straight with the Simpsons. I'm going to go 37-34 on, once again, for the 3rd time in a row, an Evan McPherson game-winning field goal to seal it. That's really all I can say. Joe Shiesty's going to do it and stun the hot Los Angeles Rams.
All right. Let's move on to his co-host, Alex, with his pick.
Yeah, so I'm sticking with the Rams. I've had a lot of faith in them the whole way. I have predicted the Buccaneers at times to
yes, sir.
See, not because of the supporting cast, not too much. Right. Their quarterback. But yeah, I think it's going to be really close. I'm rooting for it to be really close. So I have the Rams winning 24-17 because I think we're going to get a Rams touchdown to go ahead with maybe 5 minutes left. And then that defense will get a stop at the end and they'll win them the game. So that's what I'm thinking.
All right, Jeremy, tell us, how are the Rams going to stop Jamal Murray?
And how are the Rams going to stop Jamal Murray?
Yeah, he's playing, right?
Yeah, he's playing in the Super Bowl, 100%. No, for me, I'd say it's 31-28. I think that this is going to, I don't know. I think it's going to go the exact same way as the past few games.
Okay. BDK. He's not gambling, but he's still making his picks. What do you got?
I thought you were going to forget me because usually you do sometimes.
When have I ever forgotten you?
Sometimes you do because I'm always the last one in some of the games and just forget to say my name. But I appreciate you calling my name, King. But for this game, I think it's going to be a really close first half, saying like 17-14 first half. But I do think the Rams, in the end, will pull away. I think the Bengals will have a shot to tie the game up, but Joe Burrow will throw a pick. Someone will make a mistake on the Bengals offense, and I think the Rams win this game 34-24.
Yeah, I mean, I'll end things off here. Everyone always predicts Super Bowls to be close. I think if you looked at our predictions last year with the Bucs and the Chiefs, I think we all had 1-score games. This game, I do not believe, is going to be close. I think the Rams are going to dominate the point of attack on each side of the ball, and it's really hard to win games when you're losing both lines of scrimmages on offense and defense. But that's what the Bengals are going to do. I said my my key matchup was the Bengals defensive pass rush versus the Rams offensive line, and I don't see them winning that. Andrew Whitworth is back. He's somehow playing like one of the best offensive tackles in football. I think Stafford's going to have ample time. And I think they're going to be able to run the ball too, which will set up the play action. And on the other side of the ball, we've all said it, the Bengals offensive line is not going to be able to protect against this Rams defensive rush. That doesn't mean we might not necessarily see it with 5-6 sacks, but we might see it in sort of against like the Rams did against the Bucs, where the Bengals just don't have enough time to run their full offense. They can't go down the field. They don't even have time to do these 50-50 balls that they love so much. And I think these Rams corners are a great matchup, as good a matchup as you can hope for against these Bengals wide receivers. They're physical, and the Bengals are not going to be able to run the ball as I said, against this Rams defensive front. So if you look at literally every possible position and matchup, the Bengals are severely behind the Rams. And I know everyone talks about Bengals magic, but in reality, they've only played one good half. They couldn't capitalize in the red zone against the Raiders. They did not play well at all against the Titans. They got bailed out by 3 Tannehill interceptions. And then they played a disastrous first half against the Chiefs. And, we could assess blame if we want to second half, but they played a great half. So how am I supposed to put faith in what I think is the most talented roster against the most talented roster in football and a team that has been inconsistent during the regular season and has only played one good half in the postseason? So with that being said, this is nothing against the Bengals because I think the Bengals are a great story and I would be happy if they won. And they've got a lot of talent. They're a great team and they will be a great team for years to come, but it's not their time. It's the Rams' time. They're healthy. They're at full strength. They're playing the best football of the year. It's going to be Rams 34, Bengals 20.
Thing I'll say about this is that whether it ends up being close or not, I think the expectations were set so high this season with the amount of amazing games we've got leading up to this. I think we've had 6 straight incredibly close games that if this ends in a blowout after all we've seen, I think that would just be kind of a disappointment, not gonna lie.
Yeah, but I actually gotta give it to Jerry. This has to be. It brings up a good point because maybe it's not time to reflect back on the season with one game left. But I just do want to point out that this has been. I don't know. I've been watching football for a long time now. This has been one of the craziest, most entertaining seasons that I've watched. And I'm a Giants fan. They sucked, and I still found it crazy entertaining. So I don't know. This has been a good season of football. Whatever happens.
It's weird because in the regular season, I don't really feel like we had a dominant team. And a lot of people were saying that, the power rankings were changing every year. Yeah. And then you get in the postseason and you get all these close matchups. So maybe parity is good. Maybe having talent evenly distributed is good. But as Ellis said, there is time for reflection, and we will do plenty of reflecting in coming episodes. But for now, it's time for Stat Track with Ellis Gordon.
Nope. With Alex Grossman and Zach Ross.
Stat Track with Alex Grossman and Zach Ross.
All right, let's get it started. We have a football stat track this week. I'm very proud of myself last week. I think I did a great one with Norman Powell, who they traded the next day, which was funny. I thought you were. Anyway, we have 2 wide receivers today. They both played the same amount of games in the regular season, and one of them may or may not be involved in the Super Bowl. But here is player number 1. In the regular season, they had 98 receptions for 1,103 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Wow, that's a good season.
All right. And player 2 had 74 receptions for 1,091 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Can you say player 2 again real quick?
What did you say? Say it again?
Yeah, thanks. Just player 2.
All right. 74 receptions, 1,091 yards, and 6 touchdowns.
Oh, the 71 receptions.
Very similar in yards and touchdowns.
It's the second one, T. Higgins.
I was going to say T. Higgins.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
He's the first one.
Good nail.
That's impressive.
He's the first
one.
No, it's 98. No.
First, can we get a conference for the first one?
NFC or AFC?
It is NFC.
Were they a playoff team?
First one.
It's fine. No, we don't want
Playoff,
to.
but not Super Bowl.
Is it D-Hop?
No, well, I guess it could be Gable. No,
Is it Chris Godwin?
Oh, yeah, they did.
Is it Chris Godwin?
Oh, yes, it is. Yes,
Let's
it is.
go.
Nice.
All right. 2 nails.
All right, pretty good job.
98 receptions. That's impressive, even though he's injured the last 3 games, right?
Yeah.
I guess 14 games still.
Both played 14.
No, he missed the last 3. Wait, T. Higgins missed 2 games or 3 games?
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently.
I didn't know that.
3 games every season.
T. Higgins is a beast. He's just been overshadowed by Jamar Chase.
Yeah. Except he had those 2 drops in that game against the Titans, but whatever. They won that anyway.
All right, Ellis, you want to say goodbye?
All right. Let us wrap up this episode 86, our 3rd Super Bowl special, the specialist of them all, because We got a joint podcast with the Commencement. And with that said, thank you.
Thanks to Alex and Zach for doing a podcast with us.
Thank you. With the Commencement, thank you, Alex and Zach, for doing the joint podcast. It's been a lot of fun, even though I missed some of it.
Thank you for having us.
Basketball game. But yeah, as always,
of course.
and then you guys can do your thing after. Actually, you guys do your thing first, and I'll end it. So you shout out whatever you want.
Yeah, no, you guys are great to do this with. I hope we do more in the future. Yeah. I just want to shout out on Instagram, we are the Commencement _, and on Twitter, we are at Commencement Pod. So you can check us out too. If you like one podcast, you'll like the other. I think we all get along pretty well for that. So.
No, not after what Zach said about Brady.
All right, we'll talk later. We'll talk later.
No, we won't.
All right.
All right. Now let's do my wrap ups. If you want to follow Who's on Top on Twitter, Instagram, that is what.podcast, capital WOT.PODCAST. Twitter, you always know the stats of our personal game we play, the 10 weeks. Plus, I sometimes give my random thoughts. And you always know when the new episode is out. Instagram, we got photoshops, polls, same thing. You always know when the new episode's out. And the link is in the bio. Again, that's WOT.PODCAST, capital W. YouTube, Who's on Top, WHO, space ON, space TOP. Like, subscribe, comment on there. Jeremy does the YouTube video, so show him some love. And over there, we don't post full episodes, but we post highlights. So if you want to see the best parts of our podcast, if you don't have time to watch the whole thing, plus our beautiful faces, you can do that there. Now, if you just want to listen to our podcast, normal form, check out Spotify or any other site for podcasts other than Amazon Podcasts, because they denied us. Screw you. But yeah, and give us 5 stars or whatever you see fit. Should be 5 stars. And subscribe. And importantly, turn on the notifications bell. Episodes come out Saturday morning, or if we're running late, Sunday morning. And hey, we're at college, so sometimes we run late. With that, I think that is all for today's announcement. Thank you for listening to our 3rd Super Bowl special. Hopefully many more to come. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, vaccines out. Have a good day. Have a good week. Hope you enjoy the pod, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Peace.